Hello everybody and welcome to the INORL Benihana Cup Series. We're here live at 349 for the running of the Modell's 299. On the Jets' very own Luke Walker. On the outside it is the Indianapolis Colts' DJ Curtis. Starting third is the Jaguars' Lily Erickson, and fourth is the Miami Dolphins' Charles Roberts. And fifth is the St. George Rourke, and sixth Rod Houston. Starting seventh is the Bronco Alex Rago, and eighth is the Eagle Connor Smith. And in ninth is the Patriot of Daniel Day. And rounding out the top 10, it is the Buffalo Bill of Devin Whitston. Look at that. All four of the AFC Easters are in the top 10 starting lineup. How weird is that? But doesn't matter because we're about to hear those famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Sorry for the bit of the delay there. Just that my computer's not really very trustful. And the cars are rolling off the track. And this is 349, and everyone probably knows it by now. It is known as everybody probably knows it by now. It is probably known as the turn of death. Where they about restarted, it is near impossible. It is a 50-50 shot. You're going to make it and you're going to wreck. So you got to make that turn perfect. I'm sorry for the huge lag that happened at the beginning. I don't know what's going on right now, but we're here for 15 laps here at 349, and it's going to be fun. So buckle your seatbelts tight, and we're about to hit the road for a bumpy ride. And the green flag is out. We're underway at 349. And those turns in the road portion of the course have made a bit of a ferocious comeback. They could cause wrecks too. The majority, though, have been worked at the turn of death, as we mentioned earlier, but lately we've had more wrecks in these turns than the turn of death itself. But still, it could provide interesting race. We see a spin behind, as I already said. There have been more wrecks here behind. You saw Nick Barney just spun out. We'll get to that caution flag later, but first it's up against the turn of death for the first time today. Here they come to below down the escalation change, down the mountain, and here's the street portion of the course. Luke Walker will be the first driver to face the turn of death today. Here we go. Oh, he spins out and he could not keep his car together. And yep, he was the first victim of the turn of death. Could not escape. I knew it was going to happen someday, but, well, turn of death has made its ferocious comeback after being suspiciously quiet in the Pokemon Cup race in Season 4, but we still had a weird finish. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the Season 4 race in the Pokemon Cup under 349. DJ Curtis, he's going to be your leader. Before we get to Luke Walker's incident, let's see what happened to Nick Barney, because we just saw them spinning around that turn before we even got to the turn of death. The caution came out before we even got to the turn of death, which is pretty rare here, but lately they've been making a comeback, like I said, around these turns. Here's what happened, I think. Here is Nick Parasols, and then James Shelley gets into Nick Parasols. Parasol spins him out, and then Parasol hits John McNamara, and that's where Nick Barney made contact with James Shelley. And the others all trying desperately to avoid that wreck. It was near the lake there, thankfully they were able to keep their car up to speed, but it could have been a lot worse. Anyway, let's get to the Luke Walker incident, where Luke Walker, I think, was the only victim of the turn of death. Here he is coming off to the S-curve, and he just jumped up the pavement way too much, and he got way too high up on near the gas station, and boom, he hits the wall. It might have hit the post there, the electrical post right there as well. And somewhat, no one else was victims. Luke Walker was the only driver that got loose on the turn of death, and even Nick Barney came up to catch up to him. So turn of death right off the bat takes out our pole setter, Luke Walker. And you can see how the turn of death can change a race in an instant. And we see several drivers in pit stops. The leaders, though, have stayed out. And also LaPlante retired because of an accident. I didn't even see him. Yeah, also LaPlante is done for the day. I didn't even see him there. So we're going to have to go back and see what happened. Was he the second victim? Was he the victim I never saw? I'm not quite sure how LaPlante... Oh! Now I know what happened. Here's LaPlante. Let's go on board in slow motion. There he is coming up. There he is out of the turn of death, and, well... I'm not sure what happened exactly. It either was trying to go to pit stop or something. Oh no! He got clipped! No, he got clipped hard. Right here. Abby Sachs and the Bengal Abby Sachs spun Austin LaPlante coming off after the turn of death, and boom! Austin LaPlante hits hard into the wall. Wow, that is very rare to have a wreck on the final turn after the turn of death. Wow, I have never expected this to happen, to be honest with you. Let's go on board with LaPlante. Oh boy, was that a hard hit. That was one hard hit. He's going to be alright though. He is going to be alright because it wasn't as hard as it looks. It wasn't as hard as it looks, honestly. Let's go on board with Abby Sachs. Oh boy, wow, you can even hear the hard hit from here. You can even hear the impact of the car from there. Wow. My goodness. So 349, many surprises here at 349. I was quite shocked, by the way, from the many surprises right in the very first lap, but, well, it's the first of many laps to come. So you expect a lot more craziness to happen at 349, like drivers pitting just before the green flag waves, and almost everybody in the line pitted just before the green flag waves. I've seen this happen, but I've never seen so many cars go down pit road just before the green flag. Okay, so one of the most unusual starts I've ever seen in a race. The majority of them pitted, but Kyle Thomas, though, stays out. He will be the leader of the green flag. What a restart, folks. Only 3 drivers are still racing, and White... Oh, wow, White didn't even get... I don't know if White got a good start and was forced to go down. Dustin Ray, though, and Scott Ferguson, those are the only 3 that stayed out. Oh, and there's more drivers, but those are the only 3 that stayed out that didn't have damage. White trying to hang on. Well, no, Kyle Thomas trying to hang on over Dustin Ray. Wow, this is one of the most unusual restarts I've ever seen. I think all of the top 10 pitted. Wow, why? Why would they pit at the time like this? Before, Dustin Ray was, well, Kyle Thomas was scored 4th. Dustin Ray was scored in 7th, and Scott Ferguson was scored in 9th. McNamara was scored 13th. Pichu was scored 15th. They're now in the top 5. Connor Smith, Kevin White, Kyle Beck, Nick Barney, Luke Walker, Daniel Day, the only other drivers that got out, that stayed out, but they had damage, and a spin between Ryan Acosta and James Shelley. But right now, Kyle Thomas faces the turn of death. Oh, he got too high, and Dustin Ray takes advantage. He didn't wreck out, but he got too high on the turn. Dustin Ray retakes the lead as we see Ferguson going down pit road. Little commotion between James Shelley and Nick Barney there. We'll get to that later. No caution, though, surprisingly, but Dustin Ray still now your new leader after he takes advantage of the turn of death of Kyle Thomas's miscue in the turn of death. Ray's the leader. Pichu moves up to third. Kevin White is now fourth, and Connor Smith is now fifth. Wow, has this been one of the strangest restarts I've ever seen? This is one of the strangest restarts I've ever seen. I've seen drivers pit just before the green waves. And look at that, the 81 Charles Roberts is done. He's retired. How did he retire? We have to go back to a lot of things as soon as we get back to the next caution. I'll try to remember that. But right now, Dustin Ray is going to go down the mountain, and he's going to almost head towards the street portion of the course. No challenge against Kyle Thomas, but Ray's got to have to face the turn of death himself now as the leader. He faced it off as the second place driver a lap earlier, and he made the pass, but now he's got to face it as the leader. Here they go to the street portion, and here comes the turn of death. Oh, and this time, both got high. Thank goodness for Dustin Ray. He was lucky. Kyle Thomas got too high, and Pichu got too high as well, and that takes advantage for Kevin White to make the move for the lead. Acosta's on pit road right now, as we have 10 to go at 3:49. Surprisingly, a 2 green flag lap run. That's shocking. Wow. 10 to go at 3:49. It's still long from over. But while we get back under there, let's see what happened to Nick Barney, because I kind of saw him a lap or two earlier. I think having contact with James Shelley. There was someone having contact with James Shelley. It was not Nick Barney. I thought it was, but someone else. And was one of the drivers in pit road. This is the part where everyone pitted just before the green flag waves, which I have no idea why, but no, it was Ryan Acosta. It was Ryan Acosta. So here it is off there, the S curve down below, the very steep S curve, and then Shelley, I guess, was tapped by Ryan Acosta, and they both made contact and nearly spun out. They did a half a spin, and I guess they didn't call a caution out for that because it wasn't a spin. It wasn't a full spin, so I guess that's why. But I saw Charles Roberts, or I might have seen the 81 retire. I'm not sure why. Here he is, and I think it was the 81. I think it was the 81 instead. Yeah, it was the 81 instead. I'm not sure. He might have gotten too much damage from the earlier commotion. He had his roof taken out, and yeah, he was the victim of the turn of death. So now I know how he retired. He had a lot of damage earlier, and this just ended his day. He couldn't make it through the turn of death. Got way too high around the same spot. Luke Walker spun out, but well, it was a tough day for McNamara anyway, and this just makes it worse, and he decides just to give in. Decided to give in at this point, so. And there's Dustin Ray as a leader. We already saw that before. Let's get on to lap 6, where I think by now he'll face the turn of death. So here he comes down the mountain with 10 to go. Oh, Thomas, I thought he had for a second there, had a run on the 44. He's getting closer though. So here we go. Second time is around. Dustin Ray made it out, and Kyle Thomas got too high too. They both made it out last time, but let's see if they're going to do it this time. Oh no, Dustin Ray got too high, and he's stuck on the gas station. He got way too high, and the 43 Kyle Thomas retakes the lead, and Pichu moves to second. I'm not sure if there's a caution out now. No. Avi Sachs, who made contact with Austin LaPlante earlier, is now on pit road. Ferguson has his roof taken out as well, and other drivers as well. They might have been victims of the turn of death, but we're not focused on that right now. Kyle Thomas, the leader. And we're gonna, and I guess, no wait, sorry about that. Sorry about a bit of a spoiler, I thought we skipped ahead over. But here it is, lap 7, and he's gonna face the Turn of Death as the leader. So here we go, we'll see if Thomas can make it out for the 3rd lap in a row. No, oh, he got spun out and around the same portion that Dustin Ray spun out on, so he didn't make it out either. And he's trying to go through the streets. He's trying to get back on track. He lost the lead though. He knows it. He now knows he lost the lead. And the caution's out. And Pichu, your leader. Pichu's your leader. The caution finally came out. I guess it was for that spin, so. We're not going to go right ahead. Oh, wow. Side-by-side promotion right there. So this might be a benefit for the rest of the drivers because everyone is just, well, out of order. And this caution is really beneficial to everybody who's way behind. There will be lap cars, but there'll be less than 10 to go, so there won't be a factor. Maybe. And we just saw, and John McNamara, we saw him retire. Logan Faulkner and Declan K both probably had damage from the Turn of Death. They all retired as well. Charles Roberts, we mentioned earlier, I thought he retired, but it was John McNamara who retired. But Charles Roberts now retires with a fuel leak. And Ferguson, Sachs, Ray, Acosta, Barney are a lap down. So, James Shelley, let's see if they're going to go down pit road. Everyone's pitting. And not Ferguson, though. He stays out, but Ferguson, Sachs, and these guys all are a lap down, with the exception of Daniel Day. Daniel Day is a lead lap car who stays out. George Rourke as well. Carl Sosnowski, Lily Erickson, also on the lead lap. These guys were on the lead lap, so these guys stayed out. Only the top leaders pitted. And it's about time, too. They stayed out earlier. So here they come down pit road, along with Kevin White and a few others. And here's Pichu down pit road right now, as we're going to get a little bit of an update here as everyone's getting back on track. And with the leaders pitting, it looks like Ferguson's going to get his lap back, but he's not going to be ruled the leader, I don't think. He's just going to be ruled as a sitting duck. Kevin White got out first, by the way, over on pit road. So the leader is not Scott Ferguson, it's Daniel Day. Daniel Day will be the new leader, the Patriot 87. He's the new leader, but he's going to restart with among 2 lapped cars. I thought they were going to be pulling away ahead of him, but if he stays out here, which I think he might, he will. They will get back under green with 6 to go as Daniel Day is your new leader. He's going to have to face 2 lap cars ahead of him, though, Scott Ferguson and Avi Sachs, because simply no room and no time to get back in line for the lap cars. So it's going to be tough for George Rourke to make his move, but will he use it as an advantage? We'll see as Daniel Day, your leader here at 349 with 6 to go. And obviously the car isn't out pit road, but it will come out below the grass on the restart, so it's going to be an abrupt start. There we go, green's out. Look at that, Avi Sachs and Scott Ferguson pulling away from the other pack. They're not on the lead lap, like I said. They're almost on the lead lap. They're actually sitting duck. They're actually on the lead lap technically, but they're sitting ducks. And they're not supposed to be in front, so they're not ruled as the leaders. Daniel Day is the leader, and he hasn't even tried to pass the other 2 cars. But this could be an advantage if he uses it against the Turn of Death, because he knows the Turn of Death could cause at any driver, any moment. Oh, but George Rourke isn't waiting. Rourke is going for the lead in the Turn of Death. They're heading towards the Turn of Death. They're still side by side. So will there be 1, 2, or none? Day's going to lay off a little bit. Here they come. Whoa, whoa. Oh, wow! George Rourke made it through that perfectly! Wow, a little bit of bumper-to-bumper action between him and Daniel Day, but George Rourke made through that perfectly. He used it to his advantage, and the caution's out again with 5 to go. Rourke will be the leader, and I think Ferguson Sachs, if it's possible, they could get their laps back. Wow, what a move by George Rourke, but who was the caution out for anyway? So, anyway, we'll see. Let's go to the pace car here and see when the lights came on, and then we'll cut it to the caution. And the lights came around here. Supposed to be around here. We're gonna wait for the lights to come up. There it is. And there's supposed to be a spin. And I think I see where the spin was. Oh, 2 drivers were victims of the turn of death. Jonathan Skibnicki and Charles Roberts. Here they are in the turn of death, and they both were side by side, but Sanford got into Skibnicki, and both were sent up high and spun out. So it was 2 cars that were victims of the turn of death, and neither of them could make it out, so that was the caution. But let's get back to the race to the line. George Rourke made a move to the front. He made it perfectly. He navigated through that turn near perfection. Here he is. Daniel Day had to go up on the high side to avoid contact with Rourke. Day had to lay off the brakes really quick. And look at Rourke just slid by perfectly as he forced the 87 to go up high and made that perfect move to the front. Sosnowski actually had a run-in at the 87 per second, so that was the best of both worlds for those drivers. So and I don't think they're... And we're going to get back with 3 laps to go. 3 laps to go when we get back here. 3 laps to go when we get back at the stripe here at 3:49. So the next caution, any moment at the next caution will end the race. So everyone's got to make their moves right here, right now. And they got to avoid the turn of death. We could be seeing it once or twice more. And guess what? Daniel Day's pitting with a few to go. This could be a fuel mileage race to the very end. So we got to keep our eyes out for the leaders. George Rourke stayed out, so did Sosnowski and Dustin Ray, but we'll see if that's a factor. Ray's supposed to be a lap down, so he isn't even competing for the win. But we'll see if these two, between Kyle Sosnowski and George Rourke, we'll see who wins it out tonight. Green's out. Oh, not a good start for George Rourke. It could be an advantage for Kyle Sosnowski. And look at the 39. That's Nick Parasols in third already, passing Dustin Ray as a lap car. Rourke's gonna hang on though for another couple laps. No, couple turns. Remember, we got one more caution. The race is over. Rourke going down below. Here they come towards the bottom, downhill. Here comes the mountain. They're the carousel, through the carousel, and down the mountain. George Rourke is going to make it through. And now here they come towards the turn of death. Here comes the street portion. And this is probably the last battle against the turn of death if no caution comes out. So far not yet, but here comes Rourke. Oh, and he gets too high up on the apron and spins himself out. With 3 to go, and I think the race is over. No, it's not. They're not calling a caution. And I think Sosnowski pitted. And so did the 39. That's going to put Kevin White as the leader. I think. There's Sosnowski pitting. But it's going to be Kevin White as the leader with 2 to go. And the caution came out just in time. Are they going to race it to the line? I don't think they will. No, they will not race it to the line. So the caution came out just in time. Kevin White in front though. My goodness, has this been wild. DJ Curtis was the other driver that spun. When did the caution come out anyway? Right there. And where was Kevin White? He just passed the start-finish line, so I'm not sure. Well, I guess if they, well, they're in a certain point, they can, even if they cross the line, even though Kevin White crossed the line, they were still forced to slow down there as it's a full course caution. I guess it was part of regulations. Not quite sure, but here's the caution. DJ Curtis spun out on the turn of death. And I'm surprised George Rourke's spin didn't even cause the caution right off the bat. Because that was also a full spin. Here it is again. Here's the leader in the 9. And here's George Rourke going up way too high. And then he hits the wall. He hit the tail and spun himself in a helix. But here was the commotion after the race right here. Kyle Sosnowski could have been the leader after that, but he decided to pit thinking there was not going to be another caution, and he might have given away the win there. Same goes for Nick Parasols, and Kevin White, though, was smart enough to stay out in time. But we have had drivers slow on the final turn and lose the race. We've had that happen, so it could happen again. They've just crossed the start-finish line. They crossed it after, they crossed the line, well, after the caution came out, so I'm not sure how that happened, but I guess that's the way it goes. And we saw a little bit of an incident between Jacob Lawler, Pichu. They both spun out. Not sure what that was about, but wow. Nevertheless, though, White wasn't affected yet, but it depends if he's going to keep his car under power. He has to maintain his speed to keep his lead. Oh, Lawler's not going for second. He's pitting, and that's going to put Pichu into second. But it's still Kevin White. It's all eyes are on Kevin White. If he can make it through the final turn, he's going to win this race. He just passed the white flag. Kevin White's still the leader. But we're going to see if that's going to be the case. Here they come towards the elevation change. And we're going to see him meet up the turn of death for the final time, which will be ending under caution either way. Here they go towards the street portion and seeing the turn of death for the final time today. Gonna have to speed up a little bit there just to even get through the turn of death. That's how hard it is to even navigate through. There it is. There's the gas station for the final time making the pass. But again, White has to maintain his speed, maintain his line to keep his line to even be called the winner. We've had this Pole 1 Cup Series scene before. Alan Smith gave up on the final turn and lost the race. But here comes Kevin White. Just a few more turns left. He's not going to pit, but we'll see if he keeps it up to line. Uh-oh, he could be going right. Oh no, this could be the same incident. Oh no, he's keeping to the S-curve. Here they come to the final stretch. Just a turn to go. Just a few more miles left. And he's got the win. And off the final turn, it is now official. Kevin White wins at 3:49. It is now official as Kevin White has just crossed the finish line and takes his win of the checkered flag here at 3:49. Cars are going to stop right now and go disappear to pit road because it's way too long to even go through that again. And no driver wants to go through the turn of death again. Pichu will have to settle for second, but he did get lucky there. Lawler pitted, and he didn't even expect it. Oh, look at Ferguson just go backwards. Look at that. Scott Ferguson just disappeared backwards. What was he doing? What was Ferguson doing right there? Wow, silly goof. That's weird. And the others are just stopped right there. And, well, yeah, you know, they're going to disappear quick to celebrate. Kevin White is now your winner. His first ever win in the series. Congrats to him. Connor Smith will finish in third. James Shelley to fourth. Kyle Beck in fifth. Luke Walker will be sixth. Scott Ferguson survives in seventh. What a comeback for him. Rod Houston is eighth. Alex Rago is ninth. But Ryan Camden will round out the field in 10th. And the one who could have been second, Jacob Lawler, will be 20th today. And the rest of the field, as you see here. Time to export, and just to make this official. And it's going to be official. So congratulations, Kevin White, on the win at 349. It was one hectic race. So here are your point standings after 349. Nick Parasels and Charles Stanford both are still in the top two. Connor Smith moves up to third. Pichu moves to fourth. Kevin White, the biggest mover of the race, moves up to fifth after that win. Kevin White, Alex Rago is now sixth. Jonathan Skipnicki is now seventh. Scott Ferguson is eighth. Declan Cave is the only driver in the top 10 to lose a couple spots and still be in the top 10. He's down to ninth. And Hayden Klein is up to 10th. He's now back in the top 10. And the biggest loser today was John McNamara, who dropped 8 spots down to 12th. And also Austin LaPlante also was the loser, who dropped 8 spots down to 15th. And in 11th, Avi Sachs dropped down 6 spots. So, well, that'll do it for here in the standings. The next race is a brand new track at Escondido. Hope you guys will stick around. We'll see you later.